Hey everybody, good morning. I sometimes when I get something that's been on my mind for a week or more, and then I keep having similar conversations, I make a video about it. And one of those that's happened recently, last few weeks, and essentially it's a conversation around the who do you have in your life that is closest to you, and what is their role? How do they make you feel? Um, and how it's coming up in my life. One, I'm a part of a couple different groups of guys, and we've been talking about, what is this group for? Like, what do we want to do in each other's lives? And and then even in my family recently, we've been trying to encourage each other, and we talked, about what are some good qualities about us. And one person said, and I've heard this in lots of times, there's a famous quote that it's not about um, how you make someone feel is the most important thing. I think it was like Eleanor Roosevelt or someone who said this quote that that's the most important thing, is how you make people feel. And then in church on Sunday, our pastor talked about the Milgram experiment, and how literally the people who are sitting next to you, and like the way that they feed into your life and speak into your life, has a massive influence on what you actually do. And then I just got off a call this morning where I was praying with some guys, and right before I got on the call, I was reading in Psalms, and Psalm 141 verse 5 says, "Let a righteous man strike me, it is a kindness. Let him rebuke me, it is oil for my head. Let my head not refuse it." And so this is all kind of swirling around where I'm like, man, you know, I know I need people in my life who are going to be bold and courageous and rebuke me, point out blind spots, sharpen me, even strike me. I mean, let a righteous man strike me to get my attention. And, look, I realize that for probably a non-Christian audience, this sounds like, I think a lot of times now we want people who just agree with us and our life and everything about it. And we get these echo chambers where whatever we say and do is just repeated back to us. But that's not what I want. It's so clear to me increasingly that um, I want people who prayerfully, lovingly are involved in my life, knowing the details of it, and are weighing it and their knowledge of me against the scriptures, and are willing to come to me uh, with issues, with things they see, with encouragement too, even to the point of rebuking me, like being strongly confronting me with the scriptures and the evidence against what I'm doing, or even striking me. I mean, let a righteous man strike me, it is a kindness. Um, if my son was going down uh, the street and he was going into traffic, even if it would potentially injure him in a hurry, I would tackle him, right? I would stop him from doing that. And so I think, I look at my friends and be like, okay, traffic is an obvious one, but what are the other wrecks that I'm headed toward, and who's gonna stop me from those? Who's gonna even have a position in my life to see them? And I don't, I you know I'm thinking about it, and I don't know, like, even in my existing groups, I don't know that there's a lot of guys, like, I could hide pretty easily and they would never know that there's traffic jams or there's accidents that I'm heading into. um that they could ever intervene. And so I think letting people in your life and then being open and even inviting them to jump in and with corrective advice and action, even if I don't feel great about it right away, is so essential. And it's I think it's disappearing. I think because we've become so sensitive and so offendable that we're often shy both to give advice or correct people for fear of being called, hateful or whatever. But I just want to be clear. I think it's so important to have that in my life. I'm inviting it. I just told the guys in my group, I prayed for that. I said, I literally pray that we go deeper than being a get on the phone and pray together every Tuesday, know about each other's lives, but never go any further than that. Never repent to each other, correct each other, whatever. Like, that's not God's design. Again, looking at the life of Jesus, I mean, how did he make people feel? Both the most loved and known that they'd ever felt, as well as the most challenged and sad they've ever felt. I mean, think of the rich young ruler who walked away distressed because Jesus said, "All right, I see your heart. Sell everything you have." Or the prostitute at the well who he said she wept because Jesus knew her, but he said, "Go and sin no more." Or how about his own disciple Peter, who he looked at and said, "Get away from me, Satan." Right? Like, there's times when our friends and folks in our life should say, "Get away from me, Satan." And I don't know that we're prepared for that. So I'm inviting that. That's something that to me is critical, in my life, and just thought, maybe it's not so common, so worth sharing.